I, like a lot of people, love Pokémon. It's an incredible world with amazing characters, and they have over 1,000 of these little creatures that you get to make battle for your own pleasure. Ever since Red and Blue on the Game Boy, Pokémon has been a massive pillar in the entertainment industry. But over the last couple years, most fans can agree that Pokémon has been slacking.
Thank you, I'll be here all week.
There are a few things the Pokémon Company could do to make Pokémon just as good as it used to be again. The goal should be about finding a balance between attracting a new audience and keeping old fans happy. The first thing they need to do is to take longer between releases. Now, you might be thinking, I don't want to wait 3 or 4 years between releases. Now, I understand that, but do you want another one of these? I don't think so. One of the biggest complaints about the modern Pokémon games is that they look and feel like they were made for the GameCube. Nobody's gonna say the Switch is the most powerful console on the market, but in 2017, we got Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, which both look and play leaps and bounds better than any of the main series Pokemon games do on the Switch. You don't need an incredibly powerful console to make games feel and look refined. Scarlet and Violet on launch were full of bugs to both gameplay and visuals that made this game look and play terrible. Even now, these games don't play very well, and it's been 2 years since the game came out. And you can blame part of that on the Switch's hardware capabilities, but considering how there are so many games that look and play extremely good on the Switch, I don't think the hardware limitations are a fair argument for why Pokemon has been lacking. I truly believe if Scarlet and Violet had gotten an additional year of development time to iron out visual and performance issues, I guarantee these games would have been received so much better. They would have made it so these games don't look like they're being played on a GameCube, and I think that would have gone a long way with fans. I know graphics aren't everything, but for people who think graphics matter, it's a really big deal. This would also give plenty of time between releases for Pokemon to release more side games. Pokemon has a history of having loads of ambitious side games like Pokemon Ranger and Pokemon Conquest. Neither of these games have gotten any love on the Switch. Having more development time would allow these games to get more of a chance to shine on their own. People who really want to get the Pokemon experience can pick up these games and have their itches scratched easily. The next big issue is that these games have become far too easy. Starting on the 3DS, these games have gotten easier and easier as time has gone on. For example, you're in a Pokemon battle and your Pokemon realizes that it cares too much about you and it survives a fatal blow or cures itself from paralysis on its own. I'm not saying that I don't believe in miracles, but when it happens every single battle, something else is going on. The best thing Pokemon could do for all of their fans is to implement a difficulty selection. And Pokemon got really close to having this option in Black 2 and White 2, but required you to beat the game to unlock it, which didn't make sense to me. There is a workaround to get it before, but it doesn't make sense that it wasn't an option from the start. And it doesn't need a ton of choices. It just needs to be an easy mode, a normal mode, and a hard mode. In easy mode, the AI could be more forgiving, the catch rate could be higher, the XP gain rate could be higher, and the random encounter rate could be higher. It could also include the mechanic where Pokemon can tough out a critical blow and are guaranteed a team-wide XP share. This would be perfect for people who have never played a Pokemon game before or who are looking to speedrun. The normal mode would just be how the game is intended to play, with normal multipliers on everything. It should be just about as difficult as Pokemon was on the DS with games like Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Black and White. The hard game mode should be for experienced Pokemon fans. It could have more difficult AI, a slightly lower XP gain rate, more expensive items, and a slightly higher shiny Pokemon encounter rate. This would be awesome for people who have been playing Pokemon for years. Having a higher shiny encounter rate would give Pokemon fans a reason to play this mode. Having an option to move the difficulty to where you see fit is something that is standard in most games, but for some reason it's just not an option in Pokemon. This would help people with different levels of skill get an experience that is fit for them, and would give loads of replayability options for people who want it. The last thing is that Pokemon needs to work on their overall world building. This isn't just about them having lackluster stories recently. Pokemon exists in a broader world than just the game you're playing, and for an RPG series, these games have almost no connectivity between the games that you don't have to dig for. In the past, Pokemon would bring characters from older titles into their newer games, as a surprise challenge or as a cameo, but it doesn't happen anymore. The Pokemon world is an ever-growing and extremely deep place, but Pokemon games only scrape the surface level when they could dive so much deeper. Characters like Professor Oak, Looker, and Cynthia have appeared in a couple games but have been missing in recent titles. The stories don't need to revolve around these characters, but to see characters from past games in modern titles is a nice touch for all the fans. It helps build the Pokemon world up and makes it feel interconnected like it should. This would also have ties in the story. As our world is globalized with technology, the Pokemon world should be as well. things that happen in one region should have effects on another region. This was the standard with the first 4 generations of Pokemon. In the beginning of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, you hear about the red Gyarados that you fight in Gold and Silver. And as a lot of people know, Gold and Silver are direct sequels to Red and Blue. There are more connections like this, but this is what I'm talking about. It's details like this that amplified the stories and made each game feel like it's part of something bigger. This would help with their lack of solid stories they've been struggling with and help them build deeper narratives. Pokemon doesn't need to be written by George R.R. Martin, but having some sort of story that's deeper and has interconnected pieces would be incredible, and I think this would help them achieve this. I think Pokemon has always been a series that has been something special. For over 25 years, they've made stories that are great for everyone who plays them. There are a lot of things that Pokemon could do to improve, and I think the most important thing is to find a way to connect new and old fans at the same time. At its heart, Pokemon is a game that is made for kids, but it doesn't mean the game needs to be as shallow and void of character as it has been. Look at Avatar: The Last Airbender. That show is made for kids but is beloved by both children and adults for being a story that is greater than the sum of its parts. Pokemon has the ability to continue doing this, and I hope that they make these steps in the future. If you made it this far in the video, I wanted to say thank you for watching. I hope that you and your family have an incredible rest of your day, and if you like anything you saw here, please consider subscribing.